you don't have to aim at it. Just
just talk.
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello.
The whole thing about streaming is the more nonchalant you don't care about it, the much easier it is.
Yeah.
You're still not using Restream, right? They still got to go through all 3 apps.
One for Restream. Only Facebook is on that. And please say something.
Hi everybody.
All right, I got you.
Okay. I did, yeah, I got it yesterday. Collapsing again.
This is what you do when you have a little spawnage. But a lot of things he could have made. Forgot the mic.
There's 2 minutes before the stream will start. And I got you with the questions.
Yay.
Whatever part is not working.
Not really. Not in the normal UI, but since I'm left-handed, it's easier just to have it over here.
Are you what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's fine.
So I can make arrangements based on what it is. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
So, it's just saying that look into the camera, and say hi. Oh, Marshall, you want to do it from that? Okay.
Are you ready?
I am ready now.
I'm not going to say it.
Sure.
You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi everybody, I'm Cordeiro and I'm back for my second day sculpting at the ZBrush booth at Comic-Con. I work at Funko and I'm going to be working on a concept of Rat, the character Mordred as a rat, by the artist Pavel Tomaszewski. He did this concept for the most recent ArtStation challenge and everyone should check out his ArtStation page. It's fantastic. So I'm going to just jump into sculpting this character now. So this is where I left off, and hopefully the keyboard technical difficulties I had yesterday shouldn't be an issue today. So I'm just going to work on kind of the upper body of the character today, see how far I get. So just using a little bit of ZModeler to kind of block in this shape. And for everyone watching, I'll pull the concept over really quickly so you can see what it is. It's a really charming take on this character. And move it back. Just blocking this in. So I'm sculpting this mainly from the point of view of how I work at Funko for 3D printing. So there's certain things that I do that don't apply to, like, if you were making a character for games or film. Like, I don't have to worry about topology or anything like that since it's just going to be dynameshed before going to the 3D printer.
Ready for the first question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How's Comic-Con?
Overwhelming. This is my first year at Comic-Con, so it's definitely been quite the experience. I've been able to purchase artwork from artists that I've been following for years, and it's just like kind of mind-blowing. So I've been really enjoying it so far. Just crease it up so it doesn't collapse on me. But, nobody's going to see this back part because it's going to be shoved inside. But I'm going to crease it anyway. Oops. It's not doing that. Okay. There we go. So this definitely happens sometimes. Just move this edge up. Just delete these subdivisions. Oops. trying to get it so there's not some jankiness in there. I feel like...
Are you too pretty much doing everything in ZBrush? So you're Z-modeler for your hard surface mostly?
Yes. I used to, when I first started at Funko, I would use Maya for my hard surface stuff. And then I realized it was just not fast enough for me going back and forth between the two programs. So I decided to commit and learn hard surface in ZBrush, and it's awesome. That was, I think Z-modeler was already out, but I did some like hard surface with just high poly like clipping brushes and booleans and stuff like that. So I can kind of do both ways. But Z-modeler is just so powerful. It's like a really great tool.
So this is a personal piece that you've been working on?
It is, yes. I'm actually doing the ArtStation challenge. I chose another concept for my like actual submission, but I also really love this concept, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to work on it here.
So this is somebody else's concept that you're converting into a 3D model?
Yes, it is. So again, the artist's name is Pavel Tomaszewski, and he did a whole line of characters for this challenge that are, I think they're rats, they could be mice, I'm not really sure. And they're really cute.
If you guys have questions, she'll take them.
Yeah, feel free to ask questions.
I'll take them too, I guess. We don't have like a rigging for animation purposes. We have a rig to like pose. You can pose in ZBrush with other tools, but you would export this and probably bring in something like a Maya and then rig it. But the assets themselves, you can create all of that inside of ZBrush. Are you an animator or?
Oh, nice.
You working on your normal studio, or you're working with someone that I always wanted to like better at modeling my own. Yeah, we have FBX capability, so obviously that's popular for gaming. So everything you see we'll go over. We're also taking cameras. We're also taking any normal map, texture map, displacement maps as well. We're taking all that over.
This actually, probably just delete this.
Yeah. We have our own painting. You can paint ZBrush as well, but it doesn't work like some. It's more based upon vertex painting. But then you can even decimate models.
So right now I'm going to show a little trick. If you subdivide currently, I'm going to group by normals, and then I'm going to crease polygroup, so it just creases everything. But if you subdivide it, it has a really strong, harsh, crispy edge, and that can be nice for some things, but I like my bevels quite a bit, just to get like a slightly softening effect on it. So I grouped by polygroup, or grouped by normals rather. I crease polygroup, and then I'm gonna bevel it, and click bevel, and then there's a slider to choose your strength of bevel, and then you can subdivide it and get kind of just a little bit of a softer look, so it's not super harsh. Once you do that, it's kind of finalized, though. You can't really go back and tweak that much, because then it just looks like this.
Right now we're doing show specials.
I am definitely a fan of how that looks, and I'm probably going to do the same thing with this part of his armor.
We do have subscription services.
Just like extra geometry in here I don't really need.
And right now,
this doesn't really matter, but so everything's pretty much creased. I'm going to see what it looks like when I bevel it, and sometimes beveling can get kind of weird in these sort of edges, but If you're working for 3D printing and the figure, if you know the figure is going to be super small, like 4 inches, which is kind of the typical size of a pop, you don't really have to worry about like those tiny little details. But yeah, if there's a connection like this, it can kind of start like snagging your geometry, but I just kind of play around with it a little bit or I'll just Dynamesh it if I'm okay with that, and play with it after Dynameshing. Work on his ear a little bit, his ears a little bit as well.
Live right now to our ZBrush Live channel.
So it looks like
so our channel live every day.
Somehow they all got grouped together.
A lot of ours is 6.4 hours.
Here's a request from online.
Sure.
Would you be able to tell them what is the shortcut that you've been working on? Was that some of this thing that
some of the shortcuts. So I have my own custom UI, and basically I use kind of the hotkeys that just come with ZBrush. But I have my custom UI, so all the buttons that I use are kind of right in front of me. I can easily access them. Some buttons I regularly use are delete hidden, split hidden, auto groups, mirror and weld, mirror, and then for that trick that I did earlier with the beveling, I have buttons for group binormals and crease polygroup right in front of me. So it just speeds up my workflow. I would highly recommend either making your own UI, your own custom UI, or maybe experimenting with some that are online and kind of modifying them for your workflow. Sort of speeds up the process pretty significantly. So when you're drawing out a curve, if you want it to follow the surface of whatever geometry subtool you have, you can click continue as Z, and then it should draw on that surface. So I'm just kind of adding a little more dimension to the ears right now. There are like various techniques for doing anything in ZBrush. You can do things a bunch of different ways. I like to build things up with shapes. I actually pretty rarely use clay buildup, just because I like having a little more control with what I'm doing. I kind of use shapes, and then I use masking, and I kind of play around with things like that. Just for like freeform sketching, whatever, clay buildup is really fast. But for stuff like this, it's like I just feel more comfortable building up with forms. So probably will Dynamesh these at this point. Oops. A little bit higher. Actually, I take that back.
So how much time do you usually give yourself for doing a personal project like this? Is it something that when you have spare time you work on, or?
So for my other character, for the ArtStation challenge, it's a more complex character, and I was giving at first like a couple hours every day after work. And now if I can squeeze in like 1 hour or 45 minutes to do it, that's like enough time, the amount of time I can spend without feeling like I'm burning out. Yeah, it's kind of tough. It's tough to make time for personal works.
You get home, you just want to relax.
Yeah.
So do you prefer the transpose line still over the gizmo?
Joseph asked me this yesterday, and I still feel like pretty comfortable with it since I learned with the transpose line. And it's like muscle memory, but for certain things I will use the gizmo. I like the deformers, I like the twist with the gizmo, like trying to get a body to like twist around. It's super, super useful. And just when it feels like the right moment, I'll use it. But I think generally I still kind of stick to the line. I know a lot of people like kind of hate it, but it just feels a little more comfortable for me right now. It has some secrets. It's hard to find the secrets, but once you do, they're kind of nice.
Oh, you mean for the transpose line?
Yeah.
The secrets?
Yeah.
Actually, when you scroll over the circles in the top left, we'll give you the secrets.
What?
See up there? It'll tell you.
Oh my god.
There you go. Secrets
All right,
found.
everybody. I've been using this for years. Has that always been a thing?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, now everyone knows. You can easily find the secrets if you just look to the top left of your screen.
Probably video. Voice probably.
No, I put a filter on it, so it wouldn't click. But if you talk to it, might be.
Let's get that curvature in the ear. In there.
Oh, they want you to repeat. My audio went out and I was telling you about that trick. You want to show them that trick I just showed you, the transpose line?
Okay, so when you draw out the transpose line, if you hover over the various circles in the top left, it will show you just the various functions that you can do. So I just found that out by doing it. Apparently I am not that observant, but that's super, super nice. And I also really appreciate that you can click Control or Command over like most buttons and it will explain what that button does. So it's been really nice.
And there's another thing that someone just found out. If you want to do that too, Claire, on the bottom it shows you actually the path of the button. So if you make a custom palette, you don't remember what palette it is, it's some palette.
Oh, yeah.
That tells you right there on the bottom.
Yeah, that's really nice too. Sometimes they can get lost in that or you forget where it is, so that's a nice little nugget of information there. Looks like kind of tapers off right here. A little bit of shape. But if you're coming directly from Maya and learning ZBrush, the gizmo is probably very familiar for you. Let's see.
Doug really wants to know, will you be modeling a ring for the character to wear on his finger that is clearly a ring made from a Windows key?
Yes, maybe I'll actually just make a badge. It's like a badge of honor for this character, for the struggle I put him through.
The the Windows key. Maybe a little hidden Easter egg somewhere.
Yeah. Just to remind me of this experience. Which the key situation was fixed today, so moving around a lot more smoothly. It's a little too low. So I just Dynamesh these pieces together, and now I'm blending them. Making sure to look at like every angle. So I end up just tweaking and playing with shapes quite a bit until I see what I like. Kind of take a while. But it's a stylized sculpt, so I'm not going to do too much detail in the ear, just enough to kind of convey.
Someone's asking where Funko's actually located.
So the headquarters for Funko is in Everett, Washington, which I believe is about 30 minutes north, well, maybe more like 20 minutes north of Seattle. So Everett, Washington. There's a big shop on the first level of Funko headquarters, which everyone should visit. It's pretty amazing. It's kind of like a mini Disneyland. I still go in that shop pretty regularly.
Do you have any questions?
About a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Me or her?
Just from the modeling side, what's the big benefit of ZBrush over Maya?
Do you want to throw that one in your?
I can answer that. You can
Minecraft.
maybe you can
I'll
do
start
yours and then I'll do
come back.
it. Yeah.
Okay, so mine is more, think of more of like a box model. You can have like a cube or a sphere, and then you're pulling on with words or those spaces to try and make something, right? And then mine's really also known for animating. And then having a render, whether it be Arnold.
I think I will
So ZBrush is more of a
give him more of a orbit cavity.
Computer, and then do whatever you want with it. So she's using pressure sensitivity right now to like push that in. So in Maya world, it would extract that in and then turn it dynamic and then turn it on and see what is that smoothing like. So you're guessing a lot. So this is
more visceral and interactive, and you're reacting to what you're making instead of doing all the technical.
Yeah, this gets rid of kind of that technical barrier of having to go, okay, what edge loops do I need to put? Where do I need to maybe extrude in or extrude out? And then you're guessing, and then you're like, what does that look like? And then you're going in.
Probably will give him a lower eyelid too, so he doesn't look
take
super
it all the way.
freaky.
Instead, just sculpt. You can push in, push out, smooth. And then of course we've made a lot of other features. A lot of really amazing crazy stuff.
Size, so I get a uniform.
When you're talking over there, it's mumble because I have a noise gate, so whatever's say over becomes noise. So this is more of a question for you. Where's the best online to learn sponsored online? So just comes to here and talk that way. Yeah.
Online. I think they may have to see it online.
Just as a quick overview,
Yeah.
what are the packages and prices?
So we're doing a show special. Okay, so we have
Just kind of creating this
okay, so this is like
bit of a brow ridge.
on sale here for show comes $44 plus that. And then this is what she's
This is a question for you. So, where is the best place online to learn the hard service / Z modeler side of the ZBrush?
So I believe Pixelogic has videos like tutorials for like everything Z modeler. So I definitely hit that up. I mean, when Z modeler came out, I like watched all those videos. And it was a little overwhelming, but there's a lot of good information. And then just probably finding tutorials on YouTube and just following exactly what the person's telling you to make, just step by step, will give you a good idea. But really, like on the Pixelogic website, there's so many resources. Hey.
That's all
Do you like my rat boy?
I love him. So you still have the ability to
He's really fun.
symmetry by working on one side, right?
So we have symmetry mode, so as she does on one side, it'll work on another line, and then all she has to do is turn it off, and then you can have asymmetry.
Ease up a little bit.
So obviously that's the benefit of being digital as well, along with of course your undo.
What's the color system like?
So it's a vertex color system, so she can paint on this if she wants to. She can just grab any of the brushes and start painting with it. You can bring images in, and you can use the images.
So I really realized he had longer mustache.
So, but it's all about painting physically on the okay.
It might not be a bad idea to just add a little dimension
Looking
here
better, man.
to show where the whiskers are coming out of.
No animation. It's all modeling, sculpting, texture. You can put stuff, I like to say art in motion. We do have a timeline where you can make things move, but I would never tell
At this
anybody
point.
animate.
Probably want to dynamesh this now. Still keep it pretty low,
Everything you see here.
so I can get kind of uniform sculpting and no snagging from the geometry. Yeah.
Funko pieces that they did of me.
So I'm just playing around with that. This guy's head actually, in the concept, goes kind of straight into his body. It's a little more angular, super stylized. Ears up.
So there's high quality.
Just a lot of tweaking. Now that I'm looking at the ears from here, it's like,
And then we have different models like this. This is more like a Halloween FDM, more like a hot glue gun. This is what ultimate like
just give him a little more of a look.
and stuff like that now too.
It's a little more subtle.
Super light. This is plastic. Yeah, this was 3D printed, but the artist gave me as a gift, so he 3D printed and then he made molds. So these are molds. And I'm even printing this artist ones on the box, which artists do. So there's all these capabilities.
So I'm gonna.
I want to show you something. I'll let you guys talk.
Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Yep,
This
sure.
is you inspired me to buy a copy of what?
ZBrush.
Yes!
Alright. Love it. Oh, right now? Oh.
So his
Okay,
hair kind of flops over in the back. Looks like I don't quite have enough geometry yet back here, so I'll just subdivide once.
Yesterday, it told me I liked it.
Tell them that's happening. That's what you want.
So that was kind of the shape was
There you go.
bump. It's kind of interesting because with rats, I think their teeth are usually further out, but this one, it's like he has kind of an overbite. But I'm still low poly enough I can move this stuff around and smooth it out without that many issues. So maybe I'll just subdivide these now.
Okay, I'm gonna just stand behind you, Claire, so they can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, so the questions have been coming through about hard surface stuff, online videos. Doug's done already, giving you guys some good stuff on YouTube. Joseph Dress has done a lot on our channel as well. Michael Popovich is good as well. If you are living in the LA area, I actually myself teach a hard surface class at Noman that you can come and visit today, but it's not online, unfortunately. But Michael Popovich would definitely be good, and Joseph Drust's videos on creating his helmet on RZ Classroom would be a great one to look at for hard surface as well. That was fun.
There's a voice behind Claire.
Yes, it was the voice of Paul. So right now I'm just playing around with this with symmetry, but eventually I'd probably go in with more curved tubes and add in more strands, maybe use orb crack, which is one of my favorite brushes, and add some more detail that way. But just to get the base, it's nice having that option. And I'm just using the transpose line to duplicate what I have, polygroup I have selected. It looks like his mohawk actually starts getting like longer in the back, a little bit like a mullet.
You're halfway through your time, so you know too.
Awesome.
Exactly, that's what we've all been saying. Exactly that.
I'm playing around with this. Hair can definitely be a challenge. And for me, sometimes it requires a couple iterations even before I get what I like. But with stylized hair, like even if it's, you know, longer hair, whatever, I usually block in at least kind of the big shapes with a curved tube or just insert sphere and then start pulling it around. And then I usually build on top of that. Add some more volume back here.
Like my shirt?
And then down here to add where his mouth is, where his teeth are coming from. So I may just use curved tube some more. And build up the shape where his little mouth is. Subdivide it. Make it too big, but I would eventually just Dynamesh this, but just to give some indication that his teeth are protruding from something. Work on the fur a little bit more. eventually I will just dynamesh all these pieces, then dynamesh them together. But I usually do my detail just on individual pieces, just building up detail, and then once they're fully dynameshed, I'll do like even smaller detail if it needs it after that. Bring this around. Just move pieces around so it's not totally symmetrical. With ZBrush or my current sculpts? With ZBrush? Yeah. Probably about 5 years, like 4 years for work, and then 1 year like trying to learn it in school. Yeah. Yeah, it's super fun. Super fun.
If I had $900 a drop.
Oh man. Well, you can get, I think you can get like the, what is it called? Like, it's like a lighter version of the software. It's a little bit cheaper if you just want to try it out. And then Sculptress, which is even like more basic one, is I think it's free right now. So if you haven't tried it out, those are kind of good ways to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, just if you're really interested, pick out one of these. Anybody who's wearing a ZBrush shirt, they will able to give you a 30-day or 45-day free trial. Let them know, and then
yeah, try it out. It's really fun, really powerful.
Like, where do you even start?
I would watch some tutorials online.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to YouTube right after this.
Yeah, it was really helpful. Pixelogic has a lot of tutorials and videos, and just people, you can watch people live streaming pretty frequently. Just see what they do. Yeah. Have a good Comic-Con. So just playing around with that. And then I also wanted to show another technique, which is pretty cool. See if we can do it. So I have this skirt shape, and on the concept, the character has like a pillowed fabric look to that. So I'm going to go through this process where you can easily kind of generate this look with any alpha. So let's take a look at it. And I'm going to go into plugins, UV Master, work on clones, so I kind of preserve the original. And then this is such a simple shape, I don't really need to designate any seams. There's already kind of a cut here, so we'll see what it looks like when I unclick symmetry, click unwrap. Oops. Oh, I wasn't on the clone. Don't do that. Just try to unwrap, just unwrapping everything. Can I exit out of that? Okay, yeah, I can just abort out. Well, okay, now I'm going to go on the clone. Unwrap. And then let's take a look at what the UVs look like. It's flattening. So the orientation of your UVs really matters for this. So if I look at my alpha and look at how I want it to be, I'm just going to rotate it so the orientation is correct when I apply my alpha. And there's going to be some distortion along the edges, but we'll just see what it looks like. So now that I have that, just apply this so everyone can see it. I'm going to subdivide it a couple times. Oh, maybe I'll crease it. Let's crease. Well, for the first step, you'll see what it looks like. It can be easier to do this if you have like fully formed geometry and then you just ZBrush it, but noise. So surface, noise, click UV, and then if you click alpha down here, you can load in alpha. So I have this pillow alpha, grid alpha, pull alpha. So just bump up noise. I think it's pretty, actually maybe a little too low poly. Intensity, scale. So you can see like how you can easily just add these forms and commit them to the actual geometry. Let's see, I'm going to try a different alpha. Oh boy. Uh-oh. May have created my first crash. Looks like it's frozen. Nope. Did not do anything. Oh great, it looks like I froze it doing the surface modifier. I don't know. Interesting.
Is that a Wacom thing? Maybe it's just
flickering or mouse lag.
It's Wacom display.
Okay. I don't really need that. I think I'm gonna have to just close it.
So if you alt tap to it and reselect ZBrush maybe? Let's see that.
Oh.
It's taken over the computer.
Yeah, the surface modifier. Maybe I'll just have to force quit.
Okay, let me drag for 1 moment.
Yeah, go for it.
Make sure it's not. So you were all your Legend Surface plugin?
Yeah, I was playing around with that.
It's stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to kill it.
Sorry, everybody.
Kill it.
Let's see. I'm gonna have to kill it and then bring it back. Use it. Ah.
2x CPU usage.
Oh, cool. Oh my god, I haven't done this on a PC in a long time. How do I?
Oh yeah, you're a Mac person. What am I doing? Let me help you.
Okay, there we go.
See if you got everything back now.
Alright, where was my... Oh, it's up here?
Yeah. The beauty of doing stuff live.
Yep. So we're bringing it back. And hopefully I can show you that surface modifier technique. I don't know if I'd had...
You got 15 minutes.
Alright. Let's set this back. Oh. My UI isn't back though. Did not save. Alright. So let's try this again. Dividing one more time. Lower. And then I'm going to go again into plugins. remaster, work on clone, make sure it's the actual clone and not your sculpt. And then, since it's so simple, I don't have to deal with any, I'm not going to worry about any seams. I'm going to go to turn off symmetry because it's not symmetrical, and just click unwrap. And then flatten to check how the UVs are looking. So I added a little more geometry this time. And I'm just gonna actually use the gizmo, it makes more sense here. Just rotating it so the orientation works with the alpha that I'm gonna load in. Scale it so it's inside. Move it around, and then unflatten. And then, once that's done, you can, if you want to go back to your original sculpt, you can click Copy UVs. If you haven't altered the geometry. Actually, I'm going to go change material so it's easier to see. And then, Paste UVs. And then if you go to Surface, Noise, another little menu pops up, and you switch it to UV. Click down here. Let's try Grid Alpha 2, and then I'm just gonna bump the noise up to maximum so I don't see it, and then play with the strength, the scale. So right now the pillowing is following, based off of the orientation of my UV, it's creating this look. And if I would just rotate it around, I could get a different look. So it's probably a good scale. Maybe you want to bump up the strength a little bit.
Were you talking about speaking about different languages?
What was it?
Were you talking in the experience about speaking different languages?
No.
Someone's asking how many languages do you speak?
Maybe because of my last name? I don't know.
Guess. I'm just making sure I didn't miss something.
No, I speak pretty broken Spanish, but
I
English.
speak Ebonics.
So once you're done, you can click apply. And then with this, actually I did not, oh, you have to click apply to mesh to actually get on the mesh, but since the mesh is so low poly, it's not going to show up, so you have to subdivide quite a few times to get it. But if it doesn't matter, you can go back in and just dynamesh it to something low and then work with that. So right now, I'm going to want to divide it. I need to decrease
Where's my Lego?
this poly group, and then I'm going to divide it kind of a bunch of times and make it kind of high, and then apply the mesh one more time. So you can see it has applied it to the mesh. And if I don't like how that's looking, I can always go back into the menu, click edit, play with the strength, make it stronger, apply it again, see what that looks like. And then to get kind of a pillow effect, you can go down to deformation, just inflate it.
That's a good one. I like that shit.
Or if you want kind of more intensity, you can go to masking, mask by cavity.
I am no longer Thundercat.
Play with that if I can get it to do what I want.
Gosh, I look good. Wait, isn't this a woman's body?
See what this looks like. Okay, there we go. That's probably good enough.
It's good. I got a cake.
And then go back in deformation, inflate it, bent.
And why a bat?
Oops.
Why do I have a bat?
So really, I just
Put them on my lawn.
I really just start playing around with this a lot. Maybe soften the thing. But it kind of depends on what alpha. If you're using an alpha, you can get more of like a pillowed effect. This one's a pretty pretty firm around the edges, so I'm not getting that full super pillowy effect. Actually, I don't think I like it with the... But you can see just like kind of how powerful it can be with that. So as the base to start working on something, it can be like a really nice technique. But you have to orient your UVs if you want them to have kind of the proper look. I'm just going to leave that here for now. I'll work on these for a bit. And shout out to my coworker Anna for showing me that technique. It's kind of a magical technique when used appropriately. Let's see, it kind of has these like cutouts. It'll let me do it actually. Sometimes I kind of push the limits of the modeler. Oh, I didn't have the edge loop on the inside. It's not working out how I want it to. That's what I needed to do. But in the concept, he kind of has these cutouts in his gloves where they fold over. Probably will eventually Dynamesh this. I get it how I want it to look. Just maybe that. That's that's not what I wanted. So it was kind of the same thing down here.
Do you always keep your reference images on the other monitor, or do you bring them into ZBrush at all?
So at work, my other monitor, my computer monitor is like right above me, so I can easily just look up at it. Once in a while, I'll bring them into ZBrush if I like need that like direct kind of just blocking proportions and stuff like that, or making sure the proportions are looking good. But otherwise, I kind of just have them above me. Let's see. Same stitch. Oh.
You're going to get more toys?
What we're gonna do? We're gonna go find the other.
triangles. But it doesn't matter in the end, it doesn't matter if you're sculpting for 3D printing, because I'm just going to Dynamesh this anyway. Just going to move this down, so if I subdivide it, it'll be a little bit softer looking there. Yeah, so eventually, if I find the right pillow alpha, I will unwrap this upper portion as well and play around with it until I get the look that I want. And I think I'll show one more thing that I thought was really cool, and I might do it just in this one. So he has like trim that goes around the edges of his cloak. And if you crease, looks like an edge loop partial, if you crease these edges, or you can do it by polygroup or border edges, and you go up to stroke, curve functions, just turn those off, and you have a curved brush. So right now, I'll just use curved tubes. Tool, stroke. Size isn't on, so I'm not going to get that tapering. I'm going to click frame mesh. Oh, it's not doing it.
Watching Claire.
Hello.
She works at Funko, so all the Funko pieces are getting made in our software.
Yeah.
And most of the
Well, it's having a hard time.
all being made in our software.
And then you can export it as STL.
STL, Vernos, OBJs, yeah, all this stuff you see here.
Maybe I'll try it on this piece.
No, the names are 3D printed, prefabricated.
Let's try polygroup.
Okay, cool. So you mold them all.
Made in ZBrush, 3D print all.
And then measure them all. Is that 3D printed?
No, those are made in sculpt.
Okay.
But they use
There we go. Well, decided to do part of it, but just as an example of what it looks like.
Oh, okay. So you could.
For some reason, just doing. Usually, it will just frame the entire mesh. I don't know what I did, but it's pretty effective. Delete the curve.
Take one of these. Let's see if we can get it.
Edges. I would play around with that though. It's an awesome
Do
tool.
you guys do anything for screws? Like if I wanted to get
Slide. And then you can use scale function. Which is like really effective too. Let's see. Group by normals again, just to see what this looks like. So it's creasing everything, and then you can, wherever there's like 3 points, it's going to start snagging. So you kind of just have to play with it. But as a good base, you can just Dynamesh this. And it's usually pretty nice. Alright everyone, thanks for tuning in. I'm just wrapping up my time here. It's been a pleasure sculpting for you guys, and hopefully you learned something new from this demo. Thanks so much.